Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, welcome to
BreakRoom,
Your favorite rapper's favorite podcast.
See, this is why I like your show. You guys charismatic. You know the right things to say.
Welcome to the BreakRoom, the podcast that comes to you live every Saturday night from Facebook, YouTube, Twitch, and Twitter.
That's right.
All the usual suspects are here tonight.
How's it going, yo?
How's everybody doing?
I ain't gonna front. Last 24 hours has been kind of a bitch. I ain't gonna be detailed, but life is a motherfucker.
Shit happens,
So
man.
31. Once you turn 31, even if you're healthy, shit gonna come around. You'd be like, well, what the fuck is this for? Don't matter.
Life can be sometimes ridiculous.
No, life is ridiculous. Don't even sometimes. That's poetic. Life is ridiculous.
That's why you keep moving forward, brother. Knees to chest, boost to asses, man.
That's why we're here today, because life is ridiculous.
Exactly why we're here.
It is. We are speaking about a very controversial topic tonight that is touching the nation in weird ways, like your fucking weird uncle in the next room.
Yeah,
And we are talking about
for the record, if you're a weird uncle, don't watch this show. We don't like it.
And if you do have a weird uncle, don't introduce him to the show. More or less this episode.
Snitch that motherfucker out. We snitch on evil, so do that.
Ooh, what you drinking over there?
Apple juice?
OJ, baby.
Just OJ?
I mean, you know I got Jackie D on the side.
The diabetic menace, OJ.
Not from concentrate.
It's Minute Maid.
Do people even do that anymore?
Minute Maid is from
Back in the
concentrate,
day, you
too.
go to anybody's house, somebody had some grape juice or some orange juice in the freezer. Now, I don't even know where you'd buy it.
Can't find that purple stuff.
That purple brick.
You could find it in most supermarkets. I almost said shopping markets.
Same thing.
Well,
Yeah.
geez,
I have
Still
to keep
politically
an eye out, 'cause I've never bought it, so maybe that's why I never noticed it.
They're in the freezer aisle. You'll see them.
I'll have to
They're
take
tucked away nicely in the back where everybody keeps them in their house.
in that deep freeze under the turkey.
With all that nice frost all over it.
Right? Is this still good? Yeah, I think it is. Let's find out.
freezer
There's
burns.
no sugar in there. It's fine.
Well, like I was saying before we started talking about juices and concentrates, we're talking about a very controversial topic tonight, sweeping the nation.
Right.
We're talking about transgender people in sports.
A long topic.
So feel free to let us know what you guys think in the comments. And we're going to get started. What Wikipedia defines transgender people in sports is the participation of transgender people in competitive sports is a controversial issue, particularly where trans women athletes who went through male puberty are successful in women's sports or may cause injury to cisgender women competitors while competing. Resistance to trans women competing in women's sports generally focuses on physiological attributes such as height and weight, or performance metrics such as speed and strength. Arguing that testosterone suppression and estrogen does not adequately reduce advantages gained in male puberty within a given women's sport. Supporters of transgender athletes argue that medically prescribed puberty blockers and estrogen suppresses testosterone levels and reduces muscle mass of transgender women, potentially reducing possible competitive advantages. Feminizing hormone therapy also reduces hemoglobin, the protein which helps oxygen flow to the muscles. Supporters also argue that sport, particularly youth sports, is also about belonging, well-being, and socialization of young people. Supporters such as American Medical Association contend that anti-transgender legislation, including in sports, harms the medical health of transgender people. Access regulations requiring that trans athletes compete against athletes of the same assigned sex at birth and requiring sex verification testing have been used. Proponents of such regulations regard them as necessary to unsure fair competition, while opponents regard them as unfounded and discriminatory. So before we get a little into some of the examples of this, what do you guys think of this so far?
I think it's interesting that there ain't no women going to men's sports dominating.
Good note to start off.
That's kind of interesting, and also I think it's interesting that you would have to take hormonal suppressors that would go against what your body thinks you are versus what you feel and think you are. I find that interesting as well. It's just my thoughts at the moment. I mean, I ain't trying to go off here.
Now it's funny too, because in doing this, I really didn't see any women going and trying to get into male sports either, nor in high school or anything either.
Well, there was one chick who played football. She wasn't very good, but she tried. She got to.
From a little giants in icebox.
Yeah, that's what they hope to be an icebox. Everybody hope to be. Actually, there's dudes that hope to be iceboxes.
Yeah, but see, because you're speaking on that topic, like it is weird that men or trans women are entering women's sports versus vice versa, and I don't know. It's just weird because it's like, no disrespect to the accomplishments you are pushing for, but in that particular area of expertise, what are you aiming at to do that? In most cases when it comes down to sports, it's between fair competition and meaningful competition. A man can't just go into a women's sport and thinking that they're given fair competition, but they're beating them and setting records and doing all that crap. It's just like baseball versus boxing, right? A lot of people don't notice, but the baseball diamond is predominant more for left-handed players than right-handed. So if it's a male versus female kind of thing, or transgender, trans woman, in the women's side, it has nothing to do about size, strength, and speed. Whereas if in boxing, there's weight classes, heavyweight versus flyweight. That's definitely not fair. So, in regards to understanding those sides of the playing field, like, what are you getting at? What are you trying to accomplish? Are you trying to accomplish something that you couldn't do in your former life that you want to do moving forward? Or is it something more deeper? Because beating a woman, even if you are a woman now, physiologically, you're still a guy, honestly. Your makeup, internally, you still have size, strength, and speed compared to that of a woman's body. A woman's body cannot compare to a man's body unless you got some average Joe Schmo guy going up against, a bodybuilding woman who can actually give them some kind of competition, but that's like one in a few 100,000. Like, only a few women in this world can actually take on a man. But as far as in this case, in sports, like, what are you aiming at? What are you trying to accomplish by doing that?
Yeah, especially when you were in men's sports and you were meh at best, and now you decide that that's how you feel. Because at the end of the day, there's nothing wrong with you feeling that you are of the opposite sex and then deciding that you're going to live your life that way and you would like to be recognized as someone of the opposite sex, provided that you understand what your birth sex was and what those conditions entail behind them. You can't just all of a sudden say, no, the what happened is not true. I was never born like this. I wasn't supposed to be born. You can't do that. That is not mentally healthy. That is not going through aggression and acknowledging where you were and where you want to be. It's eschewing where you were for the idea of what you think you are because of how you feel. There's nothing solid there to go with. And that's not to discount those who have gone through this process or do feel one way or the other. But it does matter. There is a proper way to come to a conclusion about oneself. And often, if you are very easily triggered about somebody having an opinion that's different from yours in this topic or outside of that topic, you usually don't really have much of an opinion. You just think you do. And because you don't have any type of foundation, anything that you truly have faith in to where you can stay calm, you bark out and you accuse and you attack, as opposed to standing on the defense calmly and just responding with answers. Because whenever somebody does that, you can see this in all types of topics, especially if you're talking men versus women. You see a bunch of women say a bunch of things on all these panels you see out here, and then calmly a guy will respond and have an answer. And they weren't either expecting the answer or they don't like the answer. And so then it then becomes about your answer, not about the topic or the fact that it's an actual answer. It's just not the one they want. And now you're the problem because you're not giving them what they're looking for. At the end of the day, the world is not fair. And if you want to decide that biology, nature, God, whoever you deem for this, science, random chance, the RNGesus, whatever it is, if you decide that they messed up and you were supposed to be something entirely different, you can go live that life. Do that. But don't expect people who don't know you, that may not interact with you beyond 30 seconds, to know everything that's going on with you, because that gives an attitude aspect. Because I think that whole feeling of not being able to talk about those different things, acknowledge the fact that there are people who have very aggressive attitudes about this for something you don't know that's brand new to pretty much everybody, and it's your fault that you didn't address them correctly, despite the precedence being you address somebody as they appear, and as you get to know them, you address them accordingly. That's how it is. You don't just fucking know. You get to know somebody, and then they earn the respect to be called who you call them. Because if you don't respect somebody, you don't call them Mr., Sir, or Madam. You might call them fucko or bitch or, Mr. I don't give a shit. Like, if somebody doesn't like you, who gives a shit about your pronouns? And the worst way to meet somebody is to start with, that's not my pronoun. I'm sorry. Let's start with what your name was. I didn't get that. What is your name? There's priorities to things such that when you're doing something that's new society and coming off abrasive like that, that's going to make people not want to learn. That's going to make people automatically be standoffish and people not give a fuck about your experience. And then when you come over and do things that objectively from science and just watching is clearly an overstepping of how you feel versus nature, there's an issue that needs to be corralled. You can live your life. However, if you are a grown man and then you just decide I'm going to go be a grown man in women's sports and you call me Tanya instead of Tony,
It's true.
fuck you, Tony.
He decided to do that in 2019 is when he decided, I want to be a woman.
You Tanya, because you're not really doing it. You're doing this to get ahead. You went from men's swimming to women's swimming, and I'm just no. Fuck you, and fuck people like you. Because you're not a struggle that I can.
Look at Caitlyn Jenner. He wasn't like, give me all my medals because I won all those medals.
Right.
He was like, I'm Caitlyn Jenner. I'm a new person. I accept what I accept, and that's it. Like, I was who I was, and this is who I am.
And on the topic that even Caitlyn is against, trans women going into women's sport because
it was
Caitlyn
back
believes,
in
they got to protect the integrity of women's sports. Like, regardless of what you want to call yourself, like I said before, you weren't born a woman, so you can't be in the same caliber as a woman, despite how you feel. Kind of like how even Dave Chappelle, was going on about, his angle on that. Not just to kind of paraphrase, but it's like you have every right to be what you want, but how much do I got to play in accepting your own self-image? Like, you are your own person. You handle what you got to do with you. You can't expect people to do that for you, and all of a sudden it's an attack on who you are, what your beliefs are, or how you feel, and now it's an attack to you internally. When that's not the case. You want to be fair, be fair. Don't make it about you. Make it about everything in general. And if there is a specific area where it is about you, then you can say that. But you can't mix the two concepts because you're going to get the wrong response, or you won't hear what you want to hear.
Right. And like if you really want to break it down in terms of like fairness, we brought up, and there's not much to talk about, the fact that transgender men aren't going into male sports, but transgender women are going into women's sports, and when they do, they have extreme success off the bat. Well, real quick, just remove that and talk about whether or not they should be allowed to do that. Let's say that they make a non-binary league. right? So you have to not identify as not. You have to identify as a part of the non-binary spectrum in order to be part of that league. Who do you think is going to be dominating that league? It's most likely not going to be the transgender men. It's going to be the transgender women, and they're going to be beating the shit out of women.
And most of the time,
And essentially, what this also means, if a man wants to beat women and they allow transgender women into fighting sports, there will be men that will sign up in the droves until there won't be any women that want to fight anymore because they're fighting fucking men. This isn't a
domestic disputes.
Science. What will happen?
Right, and that's the first aspect that I want to look at today. We're going to look at a couple of different categories where I feel differently about most of these categories that we're going to talk about. And the first one we're going to talk about is combat sports. Like, I really don't think they should be able to fight women in combat sports, especially if they're not going to go abide by the, I guess, guidelines they're trying to pass. Because if they do try to start at an early age to become the opposite sex and want to get into sports afterwards, then the competition is, I guess what they're saying is scientifically, it's even at that point because they're not going into puberty as a male. They're going into puberty essentially as a female.
It's even, not equal.
Because children know what they want, and that's why they raise themselves.
Exactly.
I think, even with that, it hasn't been medically proven, at 100% because everybody's body type, everybody's internal make is different. Everybody has a different level of perseverance versus endurance, and everything that makes you, when it comes to do or die, fly or die. But like how Jason's saying, combat sports, or kind of like I was saying about before, fair competitions versus meaningful. Like, it's just because you change yourself into a woman, it doesn't mean you have the same strength. And
exactly, no matter how strong you think you are, a man is stronger than a woman, regardless.
And like, that's not going away if I identify as a woman.
Yeah, you're gonna be a woman dressed. You're gonna be a man dressed like a woman, or you change into a woman, but
which is
like a
fine.
freaking lumberjack, which is fine.
Right.
But come on, like, you can't hide that. Like,
I can't just go say I only fight women now and it's okay. I can't do that.
And on top of that, a trans woman won't lose body mass and muscle strength anytime soon. That's kind of why, like, in some of these hormone therapies, that it takes at least a year to go through hormone therapy so you can get readjusted to the proper levels of what a woman can perform at. And then, with respect, you got Leah Thomas crushing, shattering records. That's awesome. But compared to
We'll get to her in a second. Let's just explore the effects of puberty as told by healthychildren.org, right? It says effects of puberty on sports performance and what parents need to know. There appears to be increasing number of children who specialize in a single sport at an early age and train year-round for this sport. While the lure of college scholarship or professional career can motivate young athletes and their parents to commit to specialized training,
their kids. That's honest right now.
The American Academy of Pediatrics recommends avoiding specializing in one sport before puberty. The growing and maturing skeleton. Puberty is a period of rapid growth. So for girls, on average, rapid growth occurs around age 11 and a half, but it can begin as early as 8 or as late as 14. Boys usually trail behind about 2 years. This is why 13-year-old girls can, for a time, be a head taller than 13-year-old boys. Once puberty begins, both boys and girls go through their adolescent growth spurt. Needless to say, these changes and the ages at which they occur can have an impact on child sports performance. Changes in athletic performance during the adolescent growth spurt. Going through puberty can have a significant impact on athletic performance in both positive and negative ways. While increases in body size, hormones, and muscle strength can improve athletic performance, there may be a temporary decline in balance skills and body control during the AGS, adolescent growth spurt. Quick increases in height and weight affect the body's center of gravity. Sometimes the brain has to adjust to this higher observation point, and a teen may seem a bit clumsy. This phase is especially noticeable in sports that require good balance and body control, e.g., figure skating, diving, gymnastics, basketball. In addition, longer arms and legs can affect throwing any type of ball, hitting with a bat or racket, catching with a glove or lacrosse stick, swimming and jumping. Swimming and jumping. Coaches and trainers that are aware of AGS can help reduce athletic awareness by incorporating specific aspects of training into practices. So I don't think they're they're just telling you more about, this is not what I was looking for at all. But that gives you a little
for no reason, Jay. God damn.
No, it still gives you.
He read the whole page and was like, this is irrelevant.
That's not what I wanted to read. He's probably going to edit that part out.
Right.
I mean, it's good information, I guess.
So it's good information to see how it goes for puberty, because right after that growth spurt happens, and the girl is a little taller than the boy, and she's starting to grow in places, and he's not, and then he gets another year or two older. He is, but not as fast as she is.
No, it's just not visible. When people talk about this whole women or girls developing faster thing, it's because a woman's development is it's glaringly obvious when a girl starts developing her body. But for us, it's not the same.
Yeah, right. Because you can kind of tell the difference between kids that go from like middle school to high school. Like they might look relatively the same, but like their muscles might be a little bit more defined, or like their jaw might be a little bit more
skeleton
defined.
looks
very
different.
more. It's much more subtle, like Dre was saying, on males, but it's there. It's just.
But once it happens, it happens.
Yeah. The biggest tell is when it's like the throat drop, or if you get taller. That's the main thing they base it off of for guys. And then jokingly whether or not you get hair on your balls, but that don't mean shit.
What?
Peach fuzz.
So now you have guys like Fallon Fox, who was in the Army.
Fallon Fox?
Excuse me, in the Navy. Yes. I believe she was.
You served with them, Dre?
What'd you say?
I said you served with them, Dre?
I have no idea who this person is. That's not even a real person. It's not a real name.
Fallon Fox. It sounds like a Metal Gear Solid enemy.
Well, that's her name. That's what it says here. And she was in the Navy. She went through life as a man. And then she had her sex change and went into mixed martial arts and started pounding bitches' faces in.
So this dude couldn't get no pussy and decided, I'm going to take it out on y'all.
That's what it sounds like.
As a dude, thinking of another dude who went through life and the military, like, I don't know.
Sounds like
that's a long time to decide whether or not, like.
Oh, well, okay. So I apologize because I didn't read a little longer. She had 2 professional fights, and then the controversy started.
Okay. I mean,
did she win?
That's still.
I mean, do I really have to see if she won?
Yeah, because it matters. If it's a fair competition,
what did she beat the shit out of the other fighter because
there was somebody that went in and did that.
It looks like she all right. This is her professional mixed martial arts record, and it doesn't say whether it was
knockouts.
No, whether it was as in the women's division or in the men's division total. Like, you know what I mean? It doesn't break it down with which wins were which, but she does have one loss by knockout.
Okay. I wonder if this is the person who went into women's mixed martial arts and was getting a bunch of wins until one woman beat her ass. I don't know who it was. I don't remember the names, but I do remember that coming across articles one time. It was like, the reign is over. Here at Bubba. And I was like, okay, cool, good. That shows that at least there's competition. Because, I mean, at best, this could also drive women to work harder because they have different competition to go against. But at the same time, it's still not really, it's not fair.
Well,
not everybody's going to want the drive of having to beat a male as opposed to just a really well skilled and like woman. You know, you can kind of account for those things.
All right, so yes, they were all in the women's division.
Oh.
5 wins, 1 loss.
Former crewmates.
Lost by TKO.
3 by knockout, 2 by submission.
Yeah.
And she got 1 loss by knockout.
By
that
TKO.
must be her. That must be the one that I'm thinking of. Because she went on like a hella streak, and people were like, "This is a fucking problem," and then somebody finally beat her ass. They're like,
now,
yeah.
Dre, as a Navyman yourself, how rigorous is the training?
Then military training in general is not as crazy as people make it seem, unless you're like in a special unit or something like that. I don't know what this person did in the Navy or what their life was like, or but
she has played men, and I'm pretty sure her and her sister played one of the lower tier tennis players, and it didn't go well, if I understand correctly.
Wait, who are you talking about?
I have to find out whether or not that was an internet lie.
Serena Williams, one of the junkers commented.
DZDR. So that's
Serena.
That's what we were talking about earlier. Like it'd be one thing if a woman was able to play against a man. That's because that woman has all the skills and time to develop her craft to even go up against that man. But if a woman beats a man, that's more great for her than it is the man, honestly. But to have a trans woman go up against a woman, again, the physical makeup of a man going against
it happened in '98.
Tennis unisex though.
Tennis is unisex, so men can play against a woman and still win.
Yeah.
So Billie Jean King beat Bobby Riggs back in the day.
Hold on,
that was a fake match, but yeah.
Let me answer this question real quick. It happened in '98, right? Another event dubbed a Battle of the Sexes took place during the 1998 Australian Open between Christian Borash and the Williams sisters. Venus and Serena Williams had claimed that they could beat any male player ranked outside the world's top 200. So Borash, and I know I'm fucking butchering that name, but then ranked 203rd, challenged them both. He was described by one journalist as a man whose training regimen centered around a pack of cigarettes and more than a couple of bottles of ice-cold lager. The matches took place on court number 12 in Melbourne Park. After he finished a round of golf and 2 shandies,
sounds like fucking Archer.
What the fuck is a shandy? It's
what? Are you serious?
You over here mixing drinks. What the fuck's a shandy?
Whatever. He first took on Serena, and after leading 5-0, beat her 6-1. Venus then walked on court, and again, he was victorious. This time, winning 6-2. Barish said afterwards, 500 and above, no chance. He added that he had played like someone ranked 600 in order to keep the game fun. And that the big difference was the man can chase down shots much easier and put spin on the ball that female players could not handle. The Williams sisters adjusted their claim to beating men outside the top 350. So there you go.
1998. They were like,
that was in '98.
They probably just turned pro at that point. They might have been like 20 at that. So they were young and talking crazy, but they probably did that for publicity because they know better now. Serena says it all the time now that she was like, I could never beat a man that's ranked in the top 10 in the world or something like that.
And there's nothing wrong with that. And I feel like people need to get over the fact that there's something wrong.
No,
with
not
that.
people. Stop saying people. Women. Women need to get over the fact that this is just the way it is.
All right, so you hear to hear first, Junkers. Women are not people, and you guys need.
When you say people, you make it seem like this is an issue for everybody. And
no, I feel what you're saying. You're right, but I couldn't let.
Yeah, you got that one, Dre.
But you're right there. Women's, and not all of y'all. Some of y'all, like Jasmine, be understanding shit. So the rest of y'all, talk to your girls like Jasmine. And ask them, how do you get this shit? Because you won't listen to us. You think that we're assholes. So talk to them. Yeah. And they'll hook you up because we're getting tired. Getting tired out here, bro. Y'all getting dudes out here to take black pills. You don't want that shit. I don't want that shit. I don't really want that. I don't know what's Bruh, get your shit together.
I mean, if you expect us to always get our shit together, it shouldn't be
right. Our lives are getting shit together.
Oh, look at that.
I mean, yo, you tell us to man up. I mean, you're able to man up now. I'm just saying.
Right? Why don't we both man up and take care of the bills?
Right.
Nope, that's not gonna be a thing.
Why don't we both man up and
I was gonna say
change the tires or whatever the fuck you all expect now. I don't know.
Just don't have this conversation by Walmart. We might run into a Karen.
Mm-mm.
No, you're man.
No, I guarantee after this episode, even though we're really not saying anything, because this is not meant to hurt anybody's feelings. My problem with the parents. Wait. This is from GZDR4EV on Twitch. They say my problem with the parents of the female swimmers that are complaining about Leah Thomas is their daughters are coming in 4th or 5th place crying they should be in 3rd or 4th if Leah wasn't in the pool.
Jay, can you look up where Leah Thomas was ranking before she became a woman?
I think it was like 428 in the men's competition.
So it's somebody who fucking sucks who's taking that top spot and knocking them down. So yeah, I kind of feel them being pissed off because they're not a good swimmer and they're where she came from. And now all of a sudden she's supposed to get praised for shattering records that 4 years ago weren't records for her to break. That doesn't really click, because it's also very discouraging if somebody who is a woman who maybe really fucking suck as a woman at swimming and got to a point to being as good as they are is now being beat out by somebody who has an automatic physical start who fucking sucks at swimming, okay, but is beating them off of just different stat bases. That's the problem. That's why they're pissed off. They're not whining because they're not getting above. It's because it's fucking unfair. They have two different places that they're starting from. Okay, Leah Thomas wasn't starting as a little kid and going through hormonal therapy, because that's another topic, and now is like has been in women's competitions and has a past of like racing and whatever. No,
okay,
he hopped over, became a chief, now is number one, and that's
all right. Here it is.
Well, since you're on
what did you say? What did you say the numbers were, Dre?
I think it was like 427. He
ranked
like
during the last season in the NCAA. Leah Thomas competed in the men's division in 2018 to 19. There, she ranked 554th in the 200-yard freestyle, and she is now 5th in the event this year. Furthermore, in the 500-yard freestyle, Thomas was 65th in the country.
Like, how am I supposed to praise something like that?
You're not supposed to.
That's not gonna happen.
All right. Well, if you want to argue about places, what about the runners in high school? Was it high school or was it college? I think it was high school.
Which was? So when you said that, I started to think back. I was like, I don't remember anybody trans on the team. But I don't know. I think so.
Now, also keep in mind, not to defend the whole Leah Thomas thing, but I read some of the articles where Leah Thomas went through at least 2 years of hormone therapy. So the only reason why I bring that up is because hormone therapy does work over time. It doesn't work right away. So that way it can get a trans woman.
Seen the pictures of this motherfucker next to the women he wished against?
I know.
It don't stop his
work when, my nigga, because it needs to work
He's
before you
already tall, and
But that's the
being
thing
tall and
that's the
slim
next thing I was
is
gonna
works
say.
for swimming.
I'm not gonna lie, it does work in some sports.
Though. Even if you do lose some of your hormonal,
there is a transgender female by the name of Nyla Rose in AEW, and it works there.
That's not a professional sport.
It is a professional sport.
Jay,
it is. I mean, it is a professional sport because they get paid, but it's still, but it's also like wrestling, so they're kind of.
It works.
Anything
there.
you get paid to do makes you a professional, Jay.
Yeah, exactly.
Now she's been going through hormone therapy for
AEW.
years. She's been going through hormone therapy for years, and way before joining AEW, her hormone balances were that of a woman.
That's still ridiculous, though.
Now, the thing here, though, is AEW in wrestling is heavily, oftentimes, as real as it is, scripted. We're not talked about scripted.
And the NFL is it?
Not that type of scripted.
No, hey, look, they're both scripted, but one's a lot more complicated than the other one. Like the players don't.
It's really not.
No, it is.
Yeah, it is. The wrestlers
I agree with you.
Wrestling's the only difference is the physical contact of fighting, not in the trying to score a touchdown. Like these guys prepare by fucking punching, kicking, and slamming the fuck out of each other versus throwing a football down the field and just.
I'm mad that you just reduced football.
Yeah, have you ever watched or
what
played
the
a
fuck
football
was
game
that?
before?
You're just throwing the ball and pumping. Like, what was this? What was that, bro?
I ain't trying to rush my fucking computer, for a demonstration.
Oh my god!
For the first time
you gotta
ever,
grab the
I
rock.
agree with
Run with the rock.
For that, it's shot time.
Scripting is different because like the NFL has their script because they're presenting a product, right? And they're selling the storyline and the narrative, just like wrestling is. But if a major player in the NFL gets hurt, they gotta change the script up. And it's the same for wrestling, but
you won't see, like Talon said, you won't see a transgender male making his way to the NFL.
Oh, that's obvious.
Nor the NBA.
That's you know what? There's a better chance of that happening in the NBA than probably any other pro sport.
Yeah, because at least there
would definitely be feminists out there arguing the fact on why are they letting a transgender male into the NBA and have never let a female in.
They just made a documentary, or it just came out about the first woman that was ever drafted to the NBA.
Oh, really?
Yeah, she didn't like play, but she still was drafted.
She only got drafted then. So
yeah, but I mean, they actually did this thing where it's like, well, if you're good enough, we can try. But most women who play basketball know if they got to the NBA level, you're not gonna hang around for long.
You're not.
Now, what would happen if somebody in the NBA right now decided that they are in fact?
I have posited this question about LeBron going to the WNBA many times.
Right now, there's nothing wrong.
That's way too high. You're aiming like you can't pick LeBron. You got to pick a bench player.
Somebody from the Knicks.
The 12th player on a bench. The 12th player on the team will go to the WNBA.
Second string Knicks player in the WNBA.
Every player you name in the NBA or find in the NBA would be the best player in the world in the WNBA. Every single one of them.
They'd be dunking. They get way more revenue. Women actually should ask for it.
They don't want to lower the rim in the WNBA too. They get real butthurt about that.
Well,
I remember Shaq said that. Shaq told Candace Parker, you guys should lower the rim so that you guys could dunk more. And she got pissed. Like, all right, fine, don't do it.
Which is, I mean, there is dunks in the WNBA, but they are few and far between.
Really? I'm gonna have to look these up on YouTube.
Yeah,
What?
there's in the WNBA.
I just don't watch it, so I didn't
No,
know.
it's okay. You're not alone, but it happens.
Like,
but see-
that's another thing that's wild to me too. Is like, it's always about the equality in men's sports, but there's nobody fucking watching women's sports. Like, you just want to be a part of what's the fun focus of everybody else, and you're being left out, and you don't fucking like it. So boo hoo. Go play the shit that exists. Go support the shit that exists.
I'm not
And then
gonna
you'll be
lie
more
though.
fervor, you know what I'm saying?
If they got the market time and they got
There's some dope ass female soccer players in the U.S. that get no recognition, and they get paid far less than the men.
there are
for no
also
reason.
female
Our
football
soccer team is
players and football leagues that don't get recognition.
Yeah, it's stupid. There's a lot of talented women out there, but women don't give a fuck. They want talented women to be where the men are, so they can look more dominant than the men and use that to lord over them sometimes.
Yeah,
It has nothing to do with anything.
Soccer is well, in America at least, that's a woman dominated sport. Like, Americans don't care about soccer in general.
Yeah,
But if
we call it soccer.
I mean, it's a UK term.
GZR4EV
What's
says,
for-
what sport want anyone on the panel not have a problem if a trans person competed? First of
I
all,
mean,
give me a
chess is
second.
never
You're going to give me a
nice.
seizure. Let's speak
Archery,
in real
F1
sentences here.
NASCAR. Those are all completely fine. They
Is
have
it
nothing
trans-
to do with
Wait,
physicality.
hold on. Those
Archery.
aren't sports.
Seeing
Archery,
swimming
they're-
and
yeah,
boxing
this is
is
true.
the problem.
This
And
is true.
don't forget about track. I remember a ton of people who wanted Ronda Rousey to fight Floyd Mayweather when he was accused of abuse.
But she
Yes,
can't box.
and that was just people talking, because I can guarantee you, if you threw the boxing gloves on Ronda Rousey and
Hell no,
put her in a
the
ring
fuck
with
out.
Floyd
That's
Mayweather,
not gonna happen.
you will knock her the fuck out.
And then, like, if you flip it,
She's not a
Floyd is
boxer,
not an
she's more of a
MMA
fighter.
fighter.
I would even-
It doesn't matter
grappler.
what they're doing. He's going to beat her. Because
Yes, I was just gonna say that. I would even go a step forward and say, if he took the leap and went into MMA for one night only and fought Ronda Rousey, he's gonna fuck her up. He's gonna
just off
dominate.
of his dedication as an athlete alone.
And
Oh,
this is
yeah.
not taking anything away from Ronda Rousey, who
Tire her out.
I don't know right now, could be winning the SmackDown Women's Championship right now. But
Oh yeah, she's in SmackDown now.
she is.
she got beat so bad. She got beat so bad she just jumped into wrestling. It's like, yeah, the money's easy here.
Yeah.
I'm
But,
sick of
like,
my face
I'm trying
kicked
to
for real.
trying to discredit wrestling, all right?
You
Ain't
hurting
nobody
him.
discrediting. We're just saying
You're
it's
hurting his
different
heart,
competitive
guys. Don't
sports.
do
Yeah,
that.
right. Look,
My
his
Super Bowl
smile
is on
changed.
this weekend.
Hey, now listen,
Heard
this
him.
boxing is scripted and boxers take dives too. But when they get their faces, cheekbone broken, eyes shattered, that
Right.
really
And you're
happens every
telling
night
me
in
one
boxing.
of the greatest boxers in the world is going to take a loss from one of the greatest female MMA artists in the world at any sport? I don't think so. Maybe
But-
she might get lucky and eke out a submission. I'll give her that. But she's
Or
not.
even my decision.
She's not going to knock that.
The
She's not going to knock him out.
decision.
Not-
She's
no.
definitely not going 5 rounds with him.
With Mayweather?
But hey, wait, hold on.
I'm
To
trying to
answer
get benefit
that
of the doubt,
person's
man. I'm trying to be
question,
fair.
stop being fair and be honest.
Yeah, seriously.
Well,
enough
all
people
right,
are being
so
fair,
now
Migs.
you're
We're not here to be
You're
fair.
actually not being fair by.
I
not
was just
really being
fair
honest.
and honest.
Yeah.
If she wins, she only wins by submission.
And she would have to catch Floyd. I mean, I don't know how, but like an
Slipping.
arm
She'll,
bar or
she'll
something.
probably like double leg takedown.
The only thing that would be in his favor
armbar.
is his inexperience in the sport, depending on how long he has to prepare. He's like Batman in this situation. What's his prep time?
That's great.
Yeah. No, but
Right.
yeah, honestly and
Well,
physically,
all
like
he gotta
There's
do-
no way
It's
she's
gonna-
getting
All you gotta
through
do
that
is throw a
shoulder lead.
punch, and that's
nah,
it.
he's gonna keep backing out, make her tire
That's
out.
how
As soon as she gets too
he's
tired to
gonna
put them
daze.
arms up, it's over.
If he jabs
Yeah,
her,
you
she's
ever
gonna get
seen-
dazed, and then if he decks her mad hard, she's gonna get knocked out. That's all he got to do. That's
You ever
it.
seen
It's
that
over.
clip of Michael B. Jordan
Ah,
doing that scene for Creed where he's going like this and the guy's just swinging and then he goes into it? That's exactly what's going to happen. She's going to dodge a couple of them and then she's going to get
Maybe not.
mocked.
Molly.
Wait, hold on. Hey, Jay, hold on. To answer that person's question, because the first part of the question was like kind of legit. When you ask, like, can a woman play a man in chess or these other things? Danica Patrick already tried in NASCAR. How did that work out for her? chess is not really a sport, but I understand because you can play a girl in chess today and it's not a big deal.
Let me just say this. We're not here to debate if women can compete against men, because women can compete against men in a lot of things. However, when we're talking best in the world odds, more than 90% of the time, the men outrank the women in a lot of sports, especially physical sports. Now you want some of these grown men who have lived their lives as grown men for more than half of their lives and are now finding that they are women, which is, there's nothing wrong with that. Live your life.
They're only doing it. They're only doing it because they got beat so bad by men.
Exactly. So now you want to beat on women.
This is an easy gold medal. This is an easy world record I could get.
We're not arguing that women have supremacy over some things. There are women who are smarter than some men. So things like chess.
I mean, most of the chess grandmasters and the best chess players in the world are men. So now we're gonna get into brain and intellectual capabilities, which is
because
like,
honestly, women have made incels, and incels love to dominate those sports.
That's bro. Shut up.
Play some D&D and some 4D chess, and have a list talking.
Hey, look,
shitty.
femcells exist too, and they're playing Dungeons and Dragons and all that other nerd shit.
That's true. You're right. I shouldn't be acting like it's unique.
Right.
Like women could play pool and be better than men at pool. Like that's a
poker.
I think games that are based off like skills that are not overly physical, a woman could be good at and beat any man in.
Yeah,
like y'all
when it comes
tend
to
to be way better cheerleaders.
I'll be Jason in pool.
I cannot confirm nor deny those statements.
Don't fucking lie, babe.
That definitely means you lost.
Right?
I cannot confirm nor deny those statements.
Okay. Me.
This ain't the federal government.
I did not have sexual relations.
We definitely know that.
Wait, and yes, you did. You lying again.
You lying again. 3 times you get time out.
Something's gonna happen once you go off air.
Wow.
Well, now. We are not here to talk about none of that.
If you say so.
Right.
No, we're not gonna get too personal with the conversation.
So now I have to actually talk about being personal.
All right.
Migs, you have a son, right?
Yes.
Jay, I know you have daughters.
Yes, sir.
Would you feel better if it was just a male versus female fight going on where your daughter was fighting your son, and for the sake of the argument, imagine a situation where they both win and lose? Would you prefer that situation, or would you prefer a child of the other gender?
Well, I'll say
identifying
this.
as that same gender.
My daughter was 2 years old, and he was fucking her up. Right. Now it makes her. She's 13 now. It makes her get fucked up by her 5-year-old sister. So,
why I ask that is because would it seem seem different to you if a boy became a girl and started fighting her in girl sports, or would it make more of a fair loss if it was just opposite gender versus opposite gender, as opposed to somebody saying that they're a girl when they're a boy? Like, does it change your opinion on the situation? Do you care?
Wait, hold on. What are you asking?
Like,
I kind of get what he's asking, but it kind of depends on the situation. Now, if the playing field are even, if I put my 13-year-old up against a 13-year-old boy who has been going through his change and is now a transgender female, I probably wouldn't have an issue with that. If they had the same time through the years, the same regimens, the same training, everything, they were both professionals. Let's say they were in judo, and they were both fucking black belts.
Right.
No, I wouldn't mind.
Okay.
Let her fuck her up. You know what I mean? Not saying my daughter gets fucked up. Let my daughter fuck her up. You know what I mean?
Right.
Let her get the frustrations out. It has to happen.
Now, in that instances, are you saying that because they have equal training, it is now, regardless of perhaps a physical difference, a skill versus skill situation, such that the mastery of the skill should make up for the difference in physicality? Or
Correct.
would, if there's a difference in physicality, be an issue to you?
They're really, if I'm saying, if this hypothetical person went through the gender change at a young age, which some of these parents are fighting for their kids to do, and some of these states are saying they need it to compete in sports. Now, some states are being dickheads and they're blocking that. So we'll get to that in a second. But to answer your question, if they're going through that regimen and they are on the same playing field as my daughter biologically and training wise, then yes, leave it up to the skills. Let's see what happens. You know what I mean? And they're both 13-year-olds. They're not in it for the glory or for the gore. You know what I mean? But fast forward to when she's 21 and she's in MMA and she's a pretty good fucking MMA fighter. Let's say she's ranked, I don't know, top 10. You know what I mean? And this guy who lived his life, was a Marine, and then decided to become transgender, had a year of training, and now wants to beat my baby's face in. Yes, I'm going to have a problem with that. I'm going to have a big problem with that.
So, Megs, what about you?
Kind of like agreeing with what Jason's saying. I think age would be more of the factor, because the younger they are, the more you can understand. Like, if it came down to it, it can be understanding and let skill or let them as individuals work it out, because it's not being tenacious to hurt one another, but they're still trying to work out a disagreement, you know, especially if you're on the same level of that said gender. So it can be looked at as fair. But once you get older, and just like how some of these reports and studies have shown, that when you're older, it's a big difference, because you have lived a life to a certain extent and your body has grown to a certain proportion, where that if you change over and you want to get physical or put your hands on someone like another female, it's more wrong. You know, you're from a different realm where you shouldn't put.
They canceled Migs. They straight up canceled this man.
Okay, well, so he's frozen on your side
everybody
too.
Say goodbye.
I'm just making sure.
Migs. He's been unalive. All right. I thought he was making perfectly all right statements, but I guess not.
Somebody didn't like what he was saying.
Right? Control, delete, mix. So it sounds like as long as they essentially grew up a girl and went through puberty with the intention and the livelihood and whatever it takes of being a girl, you have more.
There goes Tyler.
Right.
Okay, he's back.
Oh, all right. You're all right.
You cut out for a second.
Oh, that's
pretty much. Like the playing field needs to be even, and they just did unalive Migs.
Now that's really interesting to me, because, like, when you think about it, this is based off of the idea.
Jack Blacker's backer.
Jack Blacker. Jack Backer for the
Jack
first
Blacker
time.
2. No. Here comes the most anticipated blockbuster movie of the season. Backer, starring Jack Blacker.
It's Jack Blacker as the stapler. No, I think it's interesting, because, like, when you're going back saying that parents are pushing to have their children to be able to get this change of gender, that to me brings up a couple of questions. One, who the fuck told this kid that they could change their gender? Like, they could get a surgery and actually, like, change it, as opposed to, like, just feeling that they have a feminine aspect to them or whatever. Like, where did that come? Because they don't just know. They'd have to get that from an adult or some type of source, unless they're completely, unattended and just left to the internet, which you shouldn't do. Because children don't know shit. So
they do just
because children don't know shit, you shouldn't take them saying, "Mommy, I'm a boy," and "Mommy, I'm a girl" at face fucking value. You should disseminate that, and you should find out what is it that they think it is about themselves that makes them that. Because it could just be they like some things that typically from society is meant to be for girls. I remember growing up, I would be liking pink as a boy. No, the idea of it, no. But I grew up and I was like, yo, there's shades of pink and it looks good with green. Like pink works sometimes. I bought a pink shirt, a salmon shirt. I like that shit. It's a cool color. There's nothing wrong with that. The problem is you get this whole idea of like, oh, well, they're this gender because they like to do this. Maybe get the kid a kilt. See if maybe he doesn't want a fucking kilt, and that'll he'll be like, you know what, I don't want dresses. I just like freedom without pants. He just realizes that because what do kids love to do when they're young? Take their fucking pants off whenever they can. So maybe the kid is just like, girls get to wear dresses, and they get to wear dresses and be free. I want to wear a dress. I'm a girl. We don't know, but they certainly don't know. And not asking them
if your kid is taking its clothes off and running around, you don't say it's identifying as a nudist.
Right.
And you don't let it. You know
and
what I mean?
reasons for behind.
Hey, girl.
Because they don't know. What's up, Yvette? How you doing? Welcome to the show. But yeah, I find that very interesting because it really, to me, goes back to the parents and what honestly I think is a bunch of shitty parenting in the past 10, 15 years. Where do I get off saying that? Right here, right now. A lot of you fucking suck at raising your kids. They're a bunch of little shits that can't function normally at all. Fuck you and your fuck ups. All right? Hopefully we can change things going forward.
To touch on
we
that,
need to call
Colin,
you what was that?
To touch on that,
I'm trying to
I think that if your kid feels that way and continues to feel that way, you still should encourage them as an adult to make that decision, because that is a very big decision and it shouldn't be yours to be like, okay, let's take hormones and make it better for you, and you want to be a boy, okay. Like, I don't know. That's just me.
How many kids in high school swear they were in love?
Whatever.
Yeah, but I don't think parents understand the psychological destruction that you're doing to a kid that young on making them like jump between understanding life, what it is now versus what you want it to be.
Like, I get sports because of sports and everything, fine, but I still think that's an adult decision.
Hello, Bronx finest diva.
It shouldn't be done at a young age.
It really
because
should
that's
be
the parents'
something.
decision.
Yeah, it definitely needs to be something that an adult chooses for themselves. It's not and it's like, oh, but then I can't get it early. It's like, that's right, you can't, and the reason why you can't is because you don't have that faculty to do so. There's a lot of people in high school that swear they're in love with somebody.
Being your sex at all, like you haven't even experienced.
Right, you haven't even developed your sex yet.
What the hell?
So how do you even know?
You need to jump ship.
I mean, I get it. Some of them might feel at birth they're in the wrong body. Still, again, it's an adult decision because it's something that changes your life forever.
If there are people out there who are petty enough to do something like that to change what they are, just so that way they can assert some kind of dominance, like you couldn't put it as a man and you have to be a bitch ass motherfucker to do that. It's like, listen, you have to have the right reasons, but you can't make it only about you. You know, if you're part of a world or an understanding of that world that you want to express yourself as, then be genuine. Don't make it only about you, because then you're the part of the problem that we can't pinpoint because everybody's trying to hide behind their own shades of gray.
And it's
I'm going to try to guide my child to the right way that makes them happy regardless, but that it's going to have to be at an age where they can determine right from wrong for themselves.
Right. Like, if you really want to support your child, and as they keep going through the years saying, you know what, like they're a girl and they're like, I want to be a boy. Please treat me like a boy. You can help them dress and appear and act the way that they feel like they are, and just accept them that way, such that they don't feel insecure about the fact that they may not look like it. So when they are of age to make that decision, if it's still something that bothers them personally that they want to change, at least they come to that decision from a more healthy standpoint, as opposed to
and for themselves
forcing it on them when you still don't know enough about life, and you haven't even developed enough, because maybe you're not a woman, you're bisexual or you're gay. Maybe that's the answer, but you didn't give it enough time, and your parents didn't give it enough time, and now
Nowadays, most of these
can't
kids don't even
reverse-
know what these terms mean, bro.
I was
You,
going to say
like,
being bisexual or gay is not really the issue. It's more or less, what do you identify yourself as? Because
Right.
it's
Because
not about
love
who
is love regardless. It's not about who you love, it's about what you feel.
Well, I'm not gonna say that part because that's real slippery slope shit.
I'm just
I don't know
saying.
about that. It
Yeah.
definitely ain't about what you feel. I'm gonna just hardline it. It's not about how you fucking feel.
But when we talk about like the kids want to make the transition, they're not
Right.
really looking at it from the perspective of I'm gay or lesbian or whatever.
Right,
That's
like they
not-
don't even know.
Yeah, for them, it's literally genuine because they're
I won't say they don't know, and I can't say it's genuine either because you have no idea where these ideas come from. Like y'all got
True.
kids, and y'all know damn well y'all kids said to you one day, "I want to be a cheetah or Spider-Man for the rest." No, seriously. All jokes aside, your kid
No,
said, "I
you're
want to be
right.
Spider-Man forever," and it's like, cool. You could dress up as Spider-Man, but you can't wear that shit every single day of your life. And you eventually gonna
Yeah.
your kid is gonna get to a point where it's like, why would I walk outside dressed as Spider-Man?
Yeah, my 6-year-old wanted to go everywhere in an Elsa costume.
Yeah, and
Everywhere.
she's
She
gonna
wasn't the only
there's
one.
gonna be a day in her life she was like, I can't believe y'all let me go outside and wear that every single day.
No, we didn't let her. We fought her tooth and nail every day to take it off.
But
So she
you
might
know what I
thank you.
mean? Like she still wore it.
Yeah. No, exactly. It like kids, like just look at them when they're real young and they're developing from baby to like toddler. All that shit that happens then. Just because
My
they
daughter likes
physically
boy
don't
toys.
change.
She
Right.
picks like trucks and toys and like cars, and I don't be like, no, you're a girl. You need to play with a baby
Bro, my
or
daughter,
a Barbie.
my-
Like, no, you
my
want a car? Get
5-year-old
the car.
for the
You're gonna play with the car.
forever, I'm a boy. Daddy, I'm a boy.
Oh,
Mommy,
Jenna.
I'm a boy.
Yeah.
Jada,
Oh,
I'm
no,
a boy.
yeah.
I'm a boy. Okay,
That's
come on,
the one
let's
that
go.
likes the
I'm a-
cars and the trucks.
Let's go cut your hair like daddy. We're gonna cut the sides off. No, I'm gonna look like a boy.
Right. And I think when like kids are saying stuff like I'm a boy and I'm a girl, they're just saying that they identify with things that they've been told are of that other gender. And it's not even gender. They don't know that. They just know there's boys and there's girls, and they identify the difference because we dress them differently. We as adults put what is a boy and a girl in their heads from the moment they're babies. They see and they react from that, the different colors, blues versus pinks, purples versus yellows, whatever it is. They see that distinction and they associate that way.
I hate
And then when they grow up with a certain belief, we wonder, where the fuck did that come from? We gave it to them.
Right.
Because they're smart, they're sponges. They learn far better than we do as adults, because once we get to the point of being adults, we were told at some point, this is how you learn, this is the way you learn, even if it's not the way that we're supposed to be learning. So I think it's a really bad idea to have other people tell somebody who hasn't even developed who they are and give them access to something that's irreversible when they have no fucking idea.
Right.
If you want to do it when you grow up and you've gotten there, cool. Just if you want to get into sports and you're not of the same build of those people in those sports,
You just gotta let it go like Frozen, just like Kate and
don't
Jenna
go
did.
pro, just do it for fun. You know what? Find a group that does it for fun. But I'm not going to give you
Now, even
if you go professional and you're not, like, it's completely disparaging. That's fucked up. I'm not doing
I'll
it.
give you, there may be people by 18, 19, 20 who already want to make that switch and know what they want to do. Well, give yourself at least 3 or 4 years to get into, because I don't think we reach our full growth until we're all all like what 25 or something.
Yeah, I think
At
25
least-
is when
at
the
least
end of your
25.
frontal lobe finishes developing around 25, 26, provided you didn't drink the rest of it away in your early 20s.
Hey, you start at 18 knowing that you want this is what you want, then you start your process and you want to get into sports. Make sure you're like Tyler said, it's not fucking
Nah, I still don't think even if you're a man and you like wait till you're 18.
I know it's a fucking slippery slope, bro.
You still started puberty at say 12. You had 6 years of being a man, growing into a man, and you're gonna start boxing women. That's foul.
Right.
Yeah, you're old enough to know what you were trying to do versus like how you genuinely sit there and be like, I feel different. Like I need to talk to about this. I feel this in the inside. Not like now I'm capable of being a woman. I want to go tackle this. You're going too much with the game plan. Like what's really happening?
If you were gonna be a boxer, if you like started boxing at 13 and you were keeping on going all through high school, you are not allowed to box women if you change gender. Period. Because you were already a man, training against men, growing as a man does, getting the skill that you get from fighting other men, and then you don't get to accrue all that and then say, so I'm just going to fight people that 95% are not even going to be on my level physically, such that I can overdo their skill. My hook is going to be so much more intense that if I connect it even once, all of their technicals won't matter.
GZDR forever.
I go to a female prison right now and they're having problems because there's pregnancies. So that should answer that question.
I'm being serious about this question. If a transgender male commit a crime, do they gotta go to a male prison or a female prison? If the law puts them in a male prison, then they recognize them as a man as opposed to their gender at birth female. This would make the whole Leah Thomas being allowed to compete make sense. They recognize her as a woman. It's kind of all over the place with this question.
I see what they tried to do. So if you get charged with a crime and you get put in jail, when they do a physical on your body, what are they going to see?
Right.
They're going to see it. Leah Thomas is, I'm pretty sure, has gotten a surgery to transition or anything like that. So he
cut it off so she could be smoother in the water.
Hilarious. That is funny.
Whoa, Jazz. Whoa. You need to pump those brakes like they do in football.
It's the truth.
Wait, hold on.
She's so much taller and skinnier, and it's easy. I'm telling you, it's for swimming. You have to be slim like that.
We lost a viewer because you said that.
Look at that. That was too much, Jazz.
Oh, well. I'm not here to be nice.
You hurt somebody's feelings.
I'm here to tell the truth.
No, but she's right.
I'll be that person.
I do think, though, that
I believe they became a woman. They will go to a women's prison.
Yeah, no, I wasn't joking around when I said they go to a women's prison and they've had problems with pregnancies. That's a thing. That's the fucking thing, and it's a problem.
But also,
some of the
new laws that are being updated, like if now this whole identify as a woman now instead of a man thing is happening, and they explain that when they do get to jail, then they would, all right, then if that's what you identify as, then that's when they'll separate you between men and women. They're not gonna just be like, oh, you look like a man versus woman, you're gonna put you there automatically, because that's gonna start a whole civil suit or another court battle of everything that's been going on.
Wait until it's more than just pregnancy, though. You get a whole bunch of bulky transgenders running the women's fucking prisons and shit. Like, that wouldn't happen. Get a big group of manly-looking women, and they're not going to run shit in a prison? What? Are you kidding me? Okay.
Are they going to let
find out
a transgender man go to a male prison? I think not.
Talking about
but that's what I was mentioning too. This will be everything right now when it comes to this topic is a case-by-case situation, because not every case or every situation is identical to the same. There's always some kind of extra category out there that will make it seem different versus the last not story, but versus situation versus another one.
The
Transgender
context
only.
in this
I'm
context
all
is
for
very
equal
important.
rights for everybody, but there's sometimes you just got to realize that when it comes to biology,
That's still standing.
sometimes you
Equal
can't
does not mean same.
right.
Yeah, you are not. You're still not the same physically. You could change what you want, here and there, like just like how we all do, with ourselves when we want to become better. When you go and change yourself in a certain way, you are still you to a degree, but something different.
What?
Could y'all not hear me?
You like
You
popped
like
out for like
left
a
it,
second.
right?
I
It
don't know
came
what the
back
hell's going on with
on
the
some
service today.
spooky shit.
Obviously,
I'm
somebody
just saying that, like how you
particularly
were
is
referring,
disappointed.
or how you guys referring to it, like biology wise. Like if you're gonna change yourself, like how we all do, we become better versions of ourselves. Then you change yourself. But when it comes to physically, that's a whole nother ballgame. You cannot change yourself to a whole nother side of the field. You can. There's some adjustments you can make, but you got to understand you cannot completely.
Just don't sign up to be a professional woman beater if you used to be a man.
Right, like that's
There's
really
a
the
gray
most
area.
egregious shit. Like when it comes to strength and like where that really is a part of the sport in question, it's really just like, well, this just doesn't make any sense. Like when it comes to soccer, most men who play soccer are lanky, with the stature of women most of the time. They're not big dudes, and if they,
Don't say that. The
that
stature
well,
of
like
women.
okay, well,
Have you
compared.
ever wait? Have you ever seen Cristiano Ronaldo play before, bro?
All right, so I'm going based off of like high school because pro is completely different.
All right,
at the end
but
of the day.
high school boys are always going to be shaped like, for a lot of them, are gonna be shaped like women, especially this generation.
That's what I'm saying. So like there's equality there. That works. But when you get to pro, like just in general, when you start going up in the echelons of a sport from high school or like Pee Wee, I guess, Pop Warner, to high school, to college, to professional, things change a fucking lot. That's why there's plenty of high school stars that don't get into college and play. And there's plenty of college stars that maybe get to ride the bench. The people that get paid for our entertainment are fucking physical specimens. And that's why there's not as many transgender men going into sports, because there's enough wherewithal there to realize maybe not. Maybe I'm better off, unless they just love the sport and they're not in it to be the best, which is fine. Like, do it. Because at the end of the day, if you're good enough to get in men's professional sports in the West, you have fucking skills. Like, people, like, when you, like, some of the shittiest people doing stuff when they're not under pressure, like, okay, so you just can't perform under pressure. You have talent. You have stuff
Under
there. You're
pressure.
lacking. And that's why they're paying you to be on the bench and be part of practices to make the people who have that ability get better. So if you can get in there, like, hey, that's impressive, but that's a long shot. Whereas if men are looking into getting into women's sports, more men who aren't athletic have a better chance at ranking in women's sports than the other way around. And that's just fact. It's not an opinion. It's not how I feel. It's not an attack.
And it's not trying to be biased against anybody.
It's an
What you wanna
objective
do is
thing
what
that
wanna
you
do.
can see. You can see that. And if you want to be fair, interjecting yourself somewhere that then makes the space that was once fair unfair.
Right, but don't make it unfair for people that are trying to do it the fair way either, like most states are doing. Because most states are saying to for transgender people to play sports fairly, they have to undergo the hormone therapy or the testosterone therapy before puberty. Then they pass a law that state you cannot start those treatments before legal age. Did you hear what I said?
No, say the last part. You can't start treatments. What?
Okay, so most states are trying to pass laws, or I think have passed laws, some states that state you cannot play sports in college or professional, maybe high school, if you haven't started undergoing hormone or testosterone therapy. And then they go right ahead and they pass a law that states you can't undergo that therapy until you're of legal age.
So that's clearly somebody trying to fuck with people. However, these are the kind of laws and things that you want to make off of scientific data. And I feel it's not ridiculous to say there's not tons of data to make laws one way or the other because it hasn't been a focal point of data gathering. And instead of researching and getting data and doing what we should be doing, we're doing what we do, which is just fuck around and hope somebody else does the work. And then when nobody does it and it's deadline, we just put some shit out and say, this is what we got to do. The next fucking guy will fix it if I have to. I don't know. I'm done. Like, we're so fucking lazy in this country, but we get so mad about shit. But, like, we get mad sitting on our ass eating chips. You know what I mean? It's like, what are you really mad about? Are you mad enough to actually get up? Probably not. That's why you're an internet warrior, and that's why there's internet bullying, because people are too fat and lazy to go out and get bullied for real.
Now that you can hide indoors all day, you don't got to worry about catching a smack.
Because those people that are being internet bullies are the ones that will go outside and get bullied.
Right, exactly. It's completely flipped, and it's ridiculous.
Why are you scared to take a punch? Didn't you learn over history? You get bullied, you become something different when you grow up. Not just a bitch ass nigga.
Right. Look, bully either makes you a bitch or it refines you into a better person. It's one way or the other. It's all about how do you deal with adversity. Do you deal with it like you cloister down, or do you go head first and figure it out and become better so you don't have that same problem again? It's not something I support. I'm not saying go make bullies, but bullies make people, and trying to get rid of bullies has made shitty people.
I could tell y'all real quick. I had
and I'm not referring to transgender people when I say shitty people. This is a blanket statement. I don't want it to come from my head. I'm saying there's a bunch of shitty people.
Right. We don't want to. Yeah. We're not insensitive at all. To each his own.
We're not trying to be insensitive, because at the same token, we're not trying to offend, but if we do offend, you can remove yourself and it's peace be with you. Of course. But if you want to get offended at stuff that we say, we're not trying to do that. So it's a one-up for you if that's the case.
Yeah, we have our own opinion.
Right. And you can have yours too. It's all open. So we might offend, but we don't mean to offend. If you understand. So we're not apologizing for it, but don't get pissed either.
But we do open the door for y'all to reach out. Let us know how you feel.
Yeah, let us know if you're pissed.
Buy a t-shirt. Fuck it. You know what I mean?
Yeah, buy a t-shirt and write on it how pissed you are and show us on the show.
Take a picture, show up on the next show. Listen, we understand.
In fact, buy a whole fucking case of shirts for you and your friends. And you can all write on them, and we'll put you on the show. You can let us know how you feel. Like, we'll put you on next week if you do that, provided you get the shirt. So within 2 weeks, I don't know what the shipping date is and where you at, but we'll work with you.
Yeah,
fuck with you.
Well, what I was trying to say earlier was I remember in regards to the bullying bullshit. In 5th grade, I had this kid try to pick on me, and I wasn't as bold as I am now.
Your giant big ass?
Listen, hey, no matter how big I am or what.
And he was always giant.
Yes.
I was pretty much bigger than people older than me too. So
hey, like fucking
hey, listen, there's always somebody bigger than you or whatever. They're just more courageous. Either way, this kid thought it was okay to try to pick on me. And long story short, nice.
Sorry, chocolate.
Long story short, when I went to college, I got my associate's degree right before I came to Arizona. That's a good mix. Right before I came to Arizona, I ran into him.
Really?
Yeah. So I ran into him a few times, and he recognized me. And even after we spoke, I was like, "Oh, I guess you're cool. You probably grown up and you were more matured." And in the back of my head, I'm like, "This little motherfucker used to pick on me because he was shorter than me now." And then I made a joke. I was like, "Man, I wish you would try to pick on me right now. You know what I mean? You know I'll fuck you up, right? Like joking around."
I know you wasn't joking.
No, he wasn't. No, he was like,
hey,
he was.
Nah, today, nigga.
He didn't want it. Not to say that in any brash way, but he was like, "Nah, man, I'm not about that fight. And look at you, you big." I'm like, "Yeah, but remember?" In my back of my head, I'm like, "Remember that time you fuck with me? Go ahead. I want you right now, motherfucker." But
the back of your head,
it was different. So I was like, you know what? It taught me something, So it's like, yo, if you're gonna bully somebody, you better know what you're ready for when you see them again.
That's when.
I could easily throw that motherfucker. I met a lot of people
You
that when I got older, I
should have
just
faded him right there.
You pressed the forehead. You said,
bro,
what?
I was flexing so hard on him. I was like, yeah, so what's up? Like, where? Let's go to that park where you try to beat me up with your homeboy Joshua. And what's up, man?
Damn,
So I'm like,
you remember
friends and
the part,
everything?
the people he
Damn,
was with.
that's a real
I-
deep memory right there.
You was like,
Yeah,
really
well, this is
hurt.
right before
This
I
really
left.
hurt you.
This is right
They
before
really
I
hurt
left
you.
to
But they
Arizona.
Cheers,
So.
sir.
Fuck them niggas, Miguel, right? Fuck
Fuck them
them.
niggas. It's all right though. It's all right. He didn't want the smoke. Peace be with you. You know what I mean?
It really
You know,
hurts you.
it's all love. Just don't flex on me ever again. You know, just remember that.
We know.
Right? Did he Will Smith smack you?
Hell no, nigga.
Nah,
I'll throw him into an armbar real quick and I'll beat the shit out of him.
For real.
Nah.
I mean, even if you look at the replay again, Chris Rock did try to like ball a fist up. He had a little bit of a reaction.
What's really sad is people saying that he had a face pad on. It's like, come on, yo. I know he's black, but
Put
come
a
on.
face pad on and not his
Like
when,
man.
when
that
do
was
you do that?
completely out of nowhere. That was completely out of nowhere. That was like a complete impulse. Oh shit, he talking shit about Jada. Well, hold on, let me say, hold that.
That was
Should slapped
you
your
don't
bald
go
ass
do
head.
something, I'm gonna go do something. with somebody
He could have
else.
definitely handled that better, but we're not talking about that.
You didn't even say it.
That's how I didn't say it.
You said it low.
That's what it was. She looked at him. She said,
Jada,
"If you
Mr.
don't go do
Clean
something,
Smith.
I'm gonna go do something."
I think
With
Yeah,
somebody
she's gonna
else.
go do August again. That's
I
what
think
somebody
she got.
else,
I
right.
think she
You
got.
can
Will
expect another entanglement if you don't
You
handle
got
this.
willing to what?
a spell.
A
Oh, under a
cell?
spell? Maybe.
A spell.
She probably made him
He's a
spaghetti one day.
succubus, is what you're saying?
No, she probably just made him
Yeah.
spaghetti.
Yeah,
She makes him spaghetti like every 2 weeks.
Jezebel. She could be both.
Maybe she's a gypsy.
This is just a quick tip for y'all out there if you didn't know. If you're a woman or a dude and you go over to somebody's house and you've been really vibing with them, and out of nowhere they're like, "Let me cook for you," and they make you something with some red sauce or something like that, don't eat that, fucker. Don't eat that shit. Okay? Don't eat
Yeah,
that
Miguel don't eat it. Even
Don't
if
eat
you're
that
hungry.
shit. Because I'll just tell you right now,
Don't eat it.
there's spells.
There's period in there.
Malls,
That's what
yeah,
I'm telling you.
I might eat
Balls
this shit.
that
There's
blood.
period blood inside that sauce. That's why it's
And
red.
if you think I'm kidding, just go check out TikTok or Instagram. There's women out here letting you know. Okay, so be careful on what you eat. Oh, I can cook all good. If she's out here cooking Italian and you can tell she don't know shit about it, it's just some pasta noodles and some random ass shit. So don't you
First of
fucking.
all, if she said she's making meatloaf and it take her all day to make the meatloaf,
I
there's a
learned it
problem.
from TikTok. Don't let no. I learned it from TikTok, motherfucker. Cook for you, okay? Don't do that.
Right?
You go
Take
out
3 hours to take something that take 30 minutes.
and don't go out to eat somewhere where they work neither, okay? Because I take a vial.
Quit being the bitch ass people that you think you're not becoming. That's still a bitch ass.
Will
Alcina Smith.
that's blasphemy.
It's horrible.
Horrible.
That's how Jada thinks about it.
Disgusting.
Look, I like Will Smith, but like Kanye, he's in the grips of a woman that's being used as a pawn. So
Jada don't think about that. She think about Tupac, and that's it.
That's why she lost all her hair. She's still fucking stressed out.
Is he
alive? Is he in Cuba? I can't go without Will wondering. Oh my god, I'm gonna put all our laundry on the internet.
Yo, if they would have flashed that,
bitch with a round head. Feel bad for me. Like, no, you don't have no peanut head, bitch. Shut the fuck up. Damn, she acting like she looked ugly with a bald head. Like, go fuck yourself. Or August or whatever you
keep
do.
my wife's name out your fucking mouth.
It's like, but she's gonna be in Alcina's mouth. So like, what about him?
I mean, so is Will. So
he's
Probably I guess that's why it doesn't matter because if you both piping.
So.
I mean, just ask Gina.
Mm.
You said ask Gina.
Gina, you mean from Martin?
That's all, folks. Thank you for joining this
nigga
lovely
shot
podcast.
say that shit.
Yeah.
Asshole.
Actually, that was really fucking good.
Yeah? You don't know. You don't even know what was in them of.
I do. It was peppermint schnapps and Mozart chocolate cream liqueur.
Mozart's chocolate cream. How old is that?
It's not old. I just bought it.
Oh,
Maybe
that's
like
not his
last
real
month.
chocolate cream then.
I was gonna get the Godiva one, but the people in the liquor store said this one tastes much better, and then they gave me 2 samples, and they were right.
I mean, if they're gonna give you samples, that's legit.
Yeah,
You gotta leave. You can't buy shit here.
This man over here, fucking, that's all, folks. And now he's like, actually, that's uno mas, folks.
right.
And then
Right. This was really good.
Yeah.
Moral to this story is
chocolate liquor.
Get this mix.
They call it that because that's what you're gonna do when you finish.
Yeah, probably.
Getting chocolate wasted over
Look
there.
at this man, you nasty motherfucker. Yeah, probably. I'm gonna buy it.
We tried several drinks with this that people recommended, and we weren't a fan of either of them. The only one that was a little good was it the banana cream with the chocolate? That one was pretty good.
I have no fucking idea.
But didn't nobody ever say mixed peppermint schnapps?
This motherfucker think he like
Who
a
the fuck
artisan.
drinks
over here.
peppermint schnapps?
Peppermint schnapps is good.
Who drinks that?
Your
Man
man
does.
Whatever. Peppermint
Other
schnapps.
dude.
is
I think that's like a mainstay hobo drink because of the
Nobody.
price.
It is not a hobo drink.
Nobody fucking.
no wonder you look like a hobo. Now
drinks it. Nobody drinks that shit.
you look like a hobo.
Peppermint schnapps is not a hobo drink.
It is.
It makes you look like a hobo though.
I can't unmute your guys.
Didn't say
Mike.
that before.
Yo,
You gotta
Something
unmute your
that we should
own
do.
mics because this shit is crazy.
What are you
Yes,
doing?
we're still here.
Yo,
Still
this
alive.
is
That's because they got to know about Bob Saget, yo. Bob Saget.
Oh my
That's
god!
a
No.
Okay,
Listen,
that whole
if you're
Hollywood
listening to me
spectrum-
right now, fellas, I'm going to put the thank you because we're ending this episode, but you have to unmute your own mics because the jibber jabber,
All right,
It doesn't go through.
for some reason.
all right.
So
So yeah.
I will put the video on, and then you got to unmute your own mics because we love
All
during
right, well,
these
so
things.
like I was
here-
saying right now, is that this man Bob Saget, R.I.P. I
Oh
guess
my God.
he's never that.
You always want to
He
try to
was
talk
disgusting.
about Bob Saget.
What
Just
the
leave
fuck
the
is
man
that?
alone.
Olsen twins,
Don't
okay?
do it
Ask
to
them
him,
why they
please.
look like that.
No.
Why they go from
No,
happy
leave
looking
Bob
like